All right, I'm showing the time is 6:30. I'd like to call the hearing to set final tax request for fiscal year 2025-2026 to order. Kate, let's have a roll call.
Good morning. Jeremy Hansen, Paul Kraus,
Here.
Jason Weesey, Travis Kramer.
Here, notice that the Open Meetings Act is posted on the back wall. Item 4, hearing to set final tax request levy at a different amount than the prior year tax request. And based on our packet here, it looks like we'd be setting the levy at 0.45. In lieu of being 0.5 from last year, which is the equivalent this year of 0.471769. So it's about a, what is that? 4.5% decrease. And you can see that the actual property tax request is going down, not just an adjustment on the property tax going up and us reducing it some. We're actually reducing our property tax request, which is a good thing. And just to touch base, thank you for coming.
Of course.
I'll ask you a couple questions. Hate to have you come over here and nobody talk to you.
Is on the Zoom.
Lindsay is on the Zoom
Oh,
as well.
great. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello, sorry, my camera does not work, so I apologize, but I am here.
That's fine. That's fine. And just confirming, I know we had quite a few things we added on projects that we did get those included into this budget.
Yep, all except for one of them. I can't remember
It
what.
was the 3-inch overlay, which we weren't gonna do anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we're
You feel pretty good about that, Paul?
yeah, that was down the road anyways.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Sometimes it's hard to weed through all those projects when they give them to you all piled up like that. But,
Yeah. Yeah, not a problem. We'll give it just a minute or two here and then we'll close the hearing unless somebody has other comments or questions. Paul, anything you've got? Anything, Scott? Anything?
Our citizens will be more than happy with this property tax by a little bit. Covering all the bases for the year, that's what we're after.
Yeah. Okay, well, in that case, unless there's something else, I'd take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second that.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second to adjourn the meeting. Let's have a vote.
Jeremy Hansen, Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. I'd like to call the special meeting to the tax levy hearing to order. Kate, let's have a roll call.
Paul Kraus.
Here.
Scott McCorney.
Here.
Jason Weesey, Jeremy Hansen.
Here.
Travis Kramer.
Here, notice that the Open Meetings Act is posted on the back wall. Item 4, discussion and possible approval of 1% additional increase for restricted funds vote. And I believe that's,
Could you explain that again, what the 1% additional increase for restricted funds vote is? We've always had to have it on this agenda.
Isn't
Allison told us, I think, or
that because we have interlocal agreements, we can ask for that? Is that the reason?
sounds, yes, because of the local agreements.
Because we always have to prove Show proof of an interlocal, I believe.
So the question becomes is should we be asking for 1% more?
We can ask for 2, right?
Ryan. Is that? Let me think here.
Is that part of the lid? They got rid of the
They
lid,
did get rid of it
so I think that might have disappeared.
because of,
Used to be right here in this section.
I think you can only, I mean, to go from 45 cents to 50 cents, that's what you need that interlocal agreement for. Just,
Yes.
but yeah, what, they got rid of all the lid and the lid exceptions, this year on the budgets.
Okay.
Made it a little bit easier.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I don't think you have to do that 1% anymore.
because of a lid, that's not, I think that makes sense.
Okay, well, unless there's any other comments, concerns, or thoughts on that,
We also.
we'll move past that 1% item. Good, all right. Well, let's move on to item 5, discussion of possible approval of ordinance 689, annual appropriations bill. To which we would waive the 3 readings.
The other side, Paul.
Missing something.
That's the budget.
Suspension of rules is the top.
I don't think I have it in there.
Blue tab.
I think I can do it from memory.
What's that?
Anyone else have any questions?
Isn't it this page?
Suspension.
Oh, okay.
All right, that one. I move to introduce ordinance 689 and move the statutory rules requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended.
Second motion to suspend the rules.
Kate, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules for adopting ordinance 689. Let's have a vote.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. Rules have been suspended.
I move for final passage of ordinance number 689, which reads an ordinance to adopt the budget statement to be termed the annual appropriation bill to appropriate sums for necessary expenses and liabilities to provide for an effective date.
The second motion for final passage.
Shall ordinance number 689 be passed and adopted? Kate, let's have a vote.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. Ordinance 689 has been approved and adopted this 23rd day of September, 2025. Item 6, discussion of possible approval of resolution 9152025A, the tax levy.
I'd like to make an approval to pass resolution 9152025A. Final tax levy. Reading, whereas Nebraska revised statute 77-1601.02 provides that the property tax request for the prior year shall be property tax request for the current year for purposes of the levy set by the county board of equalization unless the governing body of the village of Arlington passes a majority vote, a resolution or ordinance setting the tax request at a different amount. And whereas a special public hearing was held as required by law to hear and consider comments concerning the property tax request. And whereas it is in the best interest of the village of Arlington that the property tax request for the current year be a different amount than the property tax request for the prior year. Therefore, the Arlington Village Board of Trustees requests the new property tax rate to be changed from the levy rate of the prior year to the levy rate for the general fund of 0.45 and the bond fund of 0.00 for the total levy rate of 0.45 for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026.
Yep, keep going.
Now therefore be it resolved by the chairperson and the board of trustees of the village of Arlington, Nebraska, Washington County, state of Nebraska, that number one, the 2025-2026 property tax request be set at $601,148.97 for the general fund and $0 for the bond fund, for a total of $601,148.97. A copy of the resolution be certified and forwarded to the county clerk.
Second that motion.
Kate, we have a motion and a second for resolution 915-2025A. Let's have a vote.
Paul Kraus,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. Resolution 915-2025A has been adopted this 23rd day of September 2025. Item 7, discussion and possible approval of ordinance 687, employee wages. And again, we'll have to waive the 3 readings.
First.
Discuss,
Yeah, you could wait
Can you?
first and then have this.
These are right, we have to wait it.
yes.
Yeah.
We could get through that motion.
Yeah. So I move to introduce ordinance number 687. And move the statutory rules requiring reading on 3 different days to be suspended.
I second the motion to suspend the rules.
Kate, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Let's have a vote.
Paul Kraus,
Aye.
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. The motion to suspend the rules was adopted by 3/4 of the village board, and the statutory rules are declared suspended for consideration of said ordinances. Okay. So Kate's got a copy of the template from last year, I believe.
The one that's in there, I just put blanks.
Sure.
25-26.
Yep, blanks, wages.
Yeah,
And was there any other changes to general policy benefits, anything in there that we were looking to change besides the wages? Jeremy, I know you and I talked about the lifeguards, that we were looking to let the manager and assistant get an increase with the whatever the general increase was for everyone.
Oh.
But were we talking about doing that the quarter an hour, kind of like we do with seasonal employees with snow removal, that if you're
If you stay
second
long,
year, you get
yeah,
another quarter? Was
the same setup as the seasonal.
I think that's what Jeremy and I were going to recommend adding to this.
And that would be just the assistant and the manager?
No,
Or lifeguard.
just the lifeguards.
So just.
Just the lifeguard.
Okay,
Our recommendation was the manager and the assistants would get
Get a-
whatever,
I see.
whatever raise that we deemed for everybody
Okay.
else.
Part-time snow gets quarter for every year too. Yeah.
They do. Yep.
Snow removal, it doesn't say that.
Oh, it
It just
doesn't?
says 1825 to 1925.
Oh, I stand corrected.
The public works, though, yes. The public works is 25 cents each year for up to 4 years. Do you want that specified on lifeguards as well? It would technically,
4 years, could they get a fourth year?
Depending on the age of when they
So
start.
if somebody would work for 5, you can technically get 4 months.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
I would put it 4 years,
okay,
would be my recommendation.
That works. I'm good with that.
okay.
And if we have them longer than that, then
That's the
they
one.
got it, they got a dollar. That's, it's part of it.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Do you have any recommendations for the rate increases for this year or any other adjustments to be made?
If we do percentages, do we need to then go in and figure that out? Do it hourly like we did before, the way that this is set up. Or can I recommend?
We would have to, we would probably need to write in the numbers.
Okay.
And we don't have to read the whole thing as long as we provide you a written.
Yeah, you
We can,
just.
we can read them off in the meeting just to have it official, but just provide her a copy, making sure that
Yeah,
whatever numbers we're gonna use. Do we have a recommendation on a general increase percentage rate?
My recommendation would be 3% across the board. Although. And my recommendation, the water and sewer, since we hired here within the last couple months, would not receive that. But would have that dollar increase once they complete their. Certificates or licensing. And then would be part of that going forward. And then also keeping the custodian at that current rate.
Would there be any consideration for adding additional money to the deputy clerk taking on the sexton?
I would be okay with the 25-cent increase to cover the sexton position that we basically moved and transferred over. That would be my recommendation. You think differently.
Talked about 3 the other night. So I have numbers to you for, got up to 3.5.
I can see the argument going through and picking what you want, like, if you feel differently. That's my recommendation.
Oh, what are you thinking down to that end?
What? What was our CPI this year?
Two, five, two, let's say 275. If you say 2.75, there's a case that if you trim out just to more home related inflation, there's a case to be made, it could be over 3. And so I could see going as high as 3.5, making sure we cover those inflationary expenses. And that was, when you take the full CPI, it comes out at it's under 2.75. But again, when you pick the ones that seem like more day-to-day affect a person, like fuel, food, groceries, if you don't use the average from all categories, it seemed like that maybe you could get over 3%. And so that's my only concern with 3 is making sure we're not falling behind relative to inflation.
Julie is in the chat and she's asking, will that cover minimum wage increasing January 1st, 2026?
Well, I believe everyone is above minimum wage, so yes, that would, everyone would be above minimum wage. I'm double checking that right now. At 3% or 3.5, it would both cover that.
What is the minimum wage gonna be?
15.
15.
Do we need to bump the lifeguards to 15 or is that like?
That was part of this.
Okay,
Yep, so the lifeguards would go from 14 to 15,
okay,
and that's to get them to minimum wage.
okay. Makes sense. And then seasonal part-time would be a range of 15 to 16 per hour?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, the pool was kind of as a package because lifeguards had to go up to 15, so to keep that group all aligned.
Yeah. So assistant manager should be 16, and then the manager should be 17 to keep it across the board.
So 3.5 for there, right?
Well. I mean, yes. Well, we were just moving those numbers to be with them, then we moved the assistant manager, moved the manager up, so it is consistent to where we were.
And I think part of the question was last year we made no salary adjustments for all lifeguards. So this is a 2-year adjustment.
Well, I'm okay with 3.5%.
And that would be so for maintenance, streets, water, I'm sorry, let me back up. Maintenance, streets.
Water commissioner is $1 with the certification.
Yep.
Deputy clerk has an extra 25 cents.
On top of the 3.5. Kate, I've got all the numbers here.
yeah, it's like, I'm not.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And did we increase snow removal as well?
We did, well, we did in our, yeah, I mean, that's here to be discussed.
$5 an hour.
By $1.
I guess that's up to us to decide right now.
So you have the custodian at about 260 hours. About 5 hours a week.
5 hours a week. Yep.
And sometimes more.
Sometimes
With
more
that.
with the season. So summertime, Bell Creek Fields, it takes more work. If we have a number of auditorium rentals, there's more work there. And so yes, if there's excessive a large mess to clean up, she does get some money there. But yes, that would be a true statement, 5 hours a week.
And looking at the wage divided by the hours worked is why we're not recommending a raise for the custodian. Is that what we're getting at?
That was my right. Doesn't mean that it has to be.
Okay, once we get in, I'll read off the numbers. We'll
Okay.
so you'll have a final number for each one of them.
Okay.
So we all know what we're voting on exactly. So let me read this back to everyone. The streets and maintenance would have a 3.5% increase. Water commissioner would not get the increase, but would get the $1 an hour increase after certifications. Clerk will get 3.5. Deputy clerk will get 3.5 plus an extra quarter an hour for taking on the sexton responsibilities. Librarian, 3.5. Custodian, what do you think? 0. Same this year.
Which would be 13,694.
Yep. So salary rate 13,694.34. Pool manager would be increased to 17. Assistant manager to 16, and a lifeguard of 15 with a quarter per year service, up to 4 years. Part-time employees would be a range of 15 to 16 an hour. And snow removal would be 19.25 to 20.25 an hour. If those percentages sound right, I will read back the final salaries.
One more time. I
Sure.
thought what was the custodian number?
No increases.
Okay, I thought you put a number in there. I was
No.
hearing something. Okay.
Generally, does that sound right? If so, I'll read the actual numbers off to Kate so she can have them in the ordinance. If we think that sounds right.
3.5. Proposed 3.
Yeah, or do you want to go to 3?
If majority is 3.5, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't agree with 3.5, just.
Yeah.
I don't start.
You know. 2.7, 2.75, I feel like we're still over at 3, and. What I've seen from across the board, I mean, 3 has been kind of what I've heard. From others that I've discussed things with, but.
Well, we'll take a motion in a second for whatever it's gonna be. So I
Yeah.
guess ultimately that's up to whoever wants a motion in the second one to yeah. I just kind of need to know what the motion is gonna be so I can prep Kate with some numbers. If you're planning to motion at 3, then I need to give her some numbers.
Okay.
And it'll be a matter of don't. We've already done it.
So we don't have to go there yet.
Oh,
We're just doing numbers.
Just numbers. I just need to give Kate something to fill in for the ordinance.
Right.
And then, or Jeremy, you can give her the numbers if you want to just rattle them off as part of your motion.
Let's have just a little more discussion.
Sure.
We look at last year's CPI number of 2.9, and then the year before was 4.1. I feel like 3.5 is in the middle of those two numbers. I'm more comfortable with 3.5. Is that where you're at?
You know, we talked about 3 the other night, and we put some more numbers together at 3.5%. And I think that looked a little more attractive to these guys. I mean, we're not around every day and they're running the show for us.
Yeah.
If I'm hoping we give them that 3.5%, they'll continue and keep things rolling. I'm
Sure.
kind of liking 3.5.
Is there a number you're more comfortable at, Travis?
I think I lean towards 3.5 only because I'm going through the CPI again, separating things out that are day-to-day expenses. Because the CPI is a big average of all the categories. And that 2.7 seems to come down, but if you look at the categories that aren't as applicable to us, and you weed those out, it creeps up pretty fast at 3.5. That's the only reason why I don't know if we're doing it justice at 3. Again, it's not going backwards by any means, but it's not getting ahead.
Sure.
So to answer your question, I'd probably be more comfortable at 3.5 for the general percent increase.
And I see that point I mean, this is also the cost of living plus the increase, so it's not just the cost of living.
Yeah.
So I can see the validity in the 3.5, no problem.
I apologize, I don't have.
Julie said in the chat, library would like to be open 4 more hours each week.
Is it 22.5 right now, Julie? I think maybe that's on the ordinance. Okay, so it'd be to 26.5 hours a week. Yeah, I went through and, we'll have to touch on that too here in a second. Julia, we're not gonna forget that. The CPI, when I weed it down to recreation, fuel, household items, housing, services, food, energy, it turned into 3.47 for a CPI. But when you average all of it, it's 2.62. So again, it kind of weighting the value of different categories and what's more meaningful to your day-to-day living. That's what leads me to 3.5 feels a little better.
And you got Pam's hours from her?
No, we did not. I talked to a couple of people who gave me a pretty good idea. I wasn't able to get hold of Pam.
That's the only one that makes me uncomfortable, but if those are the right numbers and you do the math, then I think maybe it is justified to leave it.
Would you like to recommend something different for the custodian?
Based on those numbers, I would say no, but
Okay.
on the number of hours we were talking about, so.
Right.
I mean, if you're anywhere from 260 to, let's say, 300, that's still. It's still a good paying position, I believe, so.
Right.
I just hope we're not off a long ways on those.
Yeah, Kate, from our conversation and what you got, it was 5 was.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to think like, this week, what would there be, that needs tended to? I know she stops in this office over the weekend and cleans. And unless there's something in the auditorium, she will stop by, I think, and like water plants and take take care of the grounds and stuff, and clean up after practices, cause they'll leave stuff or whatever, the bathrooms, but maybe in the 5 to 10 hours a week would be my guess, depending on what's going on.
You think up to 10?
I could see up to 10, depending,
Yeah, that's a big difference.
I think so.
Being a salaried position, that's why we're,
I don't know. I can see where that could take a long time. I mean, cause she'll even stop in the middle of the week and be like, oh, I'm running to Walmart. Do you guys need anything? Like, you know, she's making 1 hour here and there for Walmart trips or whatever.
14,000 even.
The number I have in here is 14,105. Is that her current?
That's what he said, it was 13.
That's what I was
That'd be
asking.
an increase.
Oh,
The current right now is 13,694.
well, if you average 7 hours a week, 7.5 hours a week. 5 and 7 or 5 and 10. And that comes up with 390 hours. With an effective wage of 35 an hour. How often does she get money from a deposit doesn't get returned? Is that
Hasn't.
monthly?
No,
Okay.
it has been way rarer, so it's really not frequently that she's getting extra money for cleaning. Like it's maybe been 5 months, 6 months since I've had to put that on her paycheck.
Comfortable leaving it still, or
I feel like $35 an hour is a fair wage for that. And what do you guys think? Do we need to bump that or not?
You know, you break it down to the hour,
It's,
a pretty good part-time gig.
that was a point that was brought up last week, so. Now that we have those numbers, it looks a little different.
You with them?
I'm okay with leaving it if you guys think that's a good number.
I think it's a good number, and if we determine that that changes and it's different, then
If she gives us a different idea of the hours, we can always amend this at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was glancing through the Sheila's notes for the library budget. I was trying to see if they had recommended 4 more hours. I would like to run that by the library board before making a change, because I can't find it in my notes. Kate, do you see anything from Sheila's recommendations that there was an increase in hours? And if not, I mean, again, same thing, we can amend it.
So let's grab cell phone.
Now for it, can't.
We've already made the motion to suspend the rules, right?
Yes.
So you just need someone to make a motion.
Did we put that in the budget for 4 more hours? Cause I don't think. Did.
$3,500 a year.
I mean, twofold. I want to make sure that that was actually an official request from the library board. I mean, just out of respect for them, making sure that,
I guess I'm trying to remember, I feel like I remember the request last year, but maybe I'm not remembering.
yeah, I
Request this year.
don't either. I don't
I was
remember.
bringing it up, but maybe that was last year's.
So what I can do after the meeting, because Sheila will need a updated budget, is we can touch base with them if we've missed something.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna, I can look at our budget, make sure it fits, make sure the request is there. And then we can check the library board on, okay, what hours are they gonna be open? What are they gonna do? So I guess, Julie, you can hear me, I'm sure, that we'll circle back to the library board and we can amend the wage ordinance to adding the hours.
I don't think we have to have the hours in there, do we?
Yeah, we do, because
It is
that
in
one,
there? Okay.
because Julie's position, library position is a part-time position, so we define the wage and the number of hours
It is, okay.
to come up with a budget.
Oh, maybe I. Okay, no, I think I did find the 4 hours.
You did?
I think so.
Okay, so that's part of the request.
I think the request was in the letter Julia had written for the 4 additional hours.
This is the email thread I see. This is, I think you sent that to Sheila.
Okay, so that was a letter that Julie wrote,
To the board, I believe.
but we didn't get it from the library board specifically as a request. I would feel better doing the right channels, running this back to the library board, getting an official request and then approving it.
Because I don't think it was on their her email of budget request.
Right, that's why I'm worried, that I want to make sure we do the
Nope,
right
I
one.
get what you mean.
I think we'll be okay.
I think
with
we
that.
figured it out now.
Okay.
And then again, what hours we're gonna be open and kind of come up with a schedule for it and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Okay, we can resolve that after this meeting.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion.
do we have numbers?
Where are we at?
I can put the numbers in as we go, if you want, off of the second chart in your earlier email.
You just have to read the first paragraph, but then yeah, if you would just maybe walk through the
Okay.
wait after that. You don't have to read it all, but
Okay,
that makes sense.
Hold on, I'm gonna be switching back and forth here, just,
Okay.
all right. I'll make a motion for the approval of ordinance number 687, employee wages, fiscal year 2025-2026, an ordinance of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska, to amend ordinance number 686, wage ordinance, and to adopt updated wage policies for the employees of the Village of Arlington, Nebraska. So I'm gonna give you changes from last year's.
Okay,
So maintenance worker plus 3.5%.
Paul, do you have the numbers? Probably best to.
Okay, so that's gonna be 2513. Is that the number you want?
I'll check you all these.
Street supervisor, 3134, which is plus 3.5%.
Okay.
Water commissioner will be $34 when training is completed, certification is completed.
before, okay.
Deputy clerk will be 1905. That includes 3.5% and 25 cents for the sexton duties. Librarian would be 1703. 3.5% increase. Custodian was the same. Pool manager, $17. Assistant manager, $16 per hour. Lifeguard, $15 per hour. Part-time, between $15 and $16 an hour, depending on years of service. Snow removal, $19.25 to $20.25, depending on years of service. And I think that's the only changes.
The clerk,
Third, I'm sorry, I did not mean to skip that.
I know.
We didn't have a percentage in there, that's why. The clerk goes to 52,017.47, which is a 3.5. No. Sorry. Clerk is $52,269.98. And that should be a 3.5% increase. I don't know why that one didn't have a,
52,269.98.
yes.
Okay, I got them all.
And let me double check, make sure that covers everything in the ordinance. Deputy clerk, auditorium. Swimming pool, public works, that should be it.
Yes.
And the 25 cents per year on the lifeguard position,
Up to 4.
up to 4 years.
Yes,
That's the new addition on that.
okay. With that addition of years of service, up to 4 years on lifeguard,
Okay.
25% per year.
I second the motion for final passage.
Kate, we have a motion and a second for the approval of ordinance 687 with the stated changes. Let's have a vote.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus,
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. Ordinance 687 has been approved and adopted this 23rd day of September 2025.
Motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
Kate, we have a motion and a second for adjournment. Let's have a vote.
Jeremy Hansen.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye. Thanks all.
Since us recording there.